Maintaining friendships also sort of ties in with coping with change as well. And I think that can be really problematic and quite complex. Being able to nurture a friendship allows you to maintain those close bonds with people that you genuinely care about, even if you change schools or start after school activities or move homes or change sporting groups. But that nurturing of a friendship requires empathy and good communication, and most importantly, reciprocity. I think it's important to note that children have an impression that they would like others to see. They would like themselves to look a certain way in different settings and different contexts. Genuine friends see them for who they are in a range of different contexts and appreciate them for who they are. So those are the sort of friendships that we want to encourage our children to cultivate. And in order to do that in the face of change or the face of changing social contexts, it's important to encourage children to tackle those difficult connectors. Things like being kind, listening, opening up, trusting, being available for a friend. If someone needs a chat or needs to spend some time talking or just distracting themselves from something else by sharing a shared interest, then that's important. And then we get on to more complex sort of social skills like mindfulness. So a positive or growth mindset is key to making the most of opportunities, but it's also important in relationships too. Sometimes children, especially who are resistant to change, can catastrophize or predict a possible number of things that could go wrong. Or they focus on embarrassing situations or mistakes or times when they were uncomfortable. And they not only affect your child's self esteem, but it affects their friendships as well. Everyone feels anxious or scared or uncertain some of the time, and this ties back into empathy. So you try and place those feelings into perspective and practicing gratitude to help you balance out your emotions. Positivity and self confidence are very likable qualities in a friend as they promote self acceptance and healthy levels of self esteem. But this process of maintaining that friendship does require effort and does require acknowledgement of that change and I guess a redefining of your role as somebody else's friend to take into account any changes that have happened. So, teaching children about coping with change and maintaining their friendships and why it's important can help them develop those fundamental foundation skills earlier rather than later. And it builds self confidence. There is nothing more rewarding, I think, than feeling as though you belong and that you're not expected to change.
In terms of transitioning a friendship through a change in situation, it helps to recognize that there are certain elements of a friendship that we need to sustain it. So friendships are built on something. People don't connect directly to one another. They connect through things. They connect through activities, through interests, and other things. So even if I'm connecting with a friend by talking to them, we're still talking about something that is mutually interesting. So when there's a change of situation, sometimes what we are connecting through, the vessel or container that's holding us together, is no longer existent. So when I was younger, I used to play competition tennis, for example, as part of a club, and I made some really good friends who I would see every week for years. Naturally, however, because that was our only form of interaction as friends, once we were no longer playing tennis together, suddenly it became much harder to keep the friendship going because we didn't have any other links to also build upon. If instead we also went camping, or we also visited each other on the weekend, or we also went to the same school, or we also had other hobbies or other interests in common, then we could use those to build a new container and maybe build a new habit or a new way of maintaining our friendship. Maybe we meet up once a month and play a board game together. That's an example of a routine or a container that that can keep going, that we don't have to constantly put effort into maintaining. If a friendship is maintained by one or other of us having to remember to reach out and make contact, then it's very easy for life to get in the way. Whereas strong friendships are built on multiple different ties and different ways of interacting with each other. And if for a friendship to be lifelong, those containers and those ways of connecting have to also evolve as time passes.
As a parent of a child on the autism spectrum, it was really important to encourage friendships outside of the school environment, because there was always a challenge of that friend's going to remember that I had that embarrassing day on Thursday, or that I played on the team that didn't win on Friday, or that I fell over in assembly on Monday. And having a friendship that's outside of that environment just means that it's almost like a fresh start in a way, or a new perspective, or a new possibility, because that person's not privy to certainly all of the good things that you achieve, but also they haven't seen all the mistakes either. And sometimes that can be quite comforting to have somebody who only sees you in a particular environment, because it
Mm,
can reduce that pressure that we often place on ourselves to be good, to do well, and having a less pressured environment can help to build self identity as well, and self acceptance. And it's always good to have that different interaction that, again, is in a different space or just shows a different part of your interests or of your life, and can really help build a child's self esteem. I know that that was really important in my case, that we took some of the pressure off that class environment, because it was a very challenging environment and people tended to remember when things didn't go well. So it was nice to have a break from that and to build friendships that we saw in a different situation or a different context, where they didn't have that memory of those violent outbursts or those really challenging behaviors.